hello. Welcome to another episode of Seeded Sports. I have with me my fellow vegan friend Ajay Menon. Thank you, Ajay, for joining us today.
Hey, good to be here, and just want to really prayers and Om Shanti to everyone who was connected with a very tragic incident that happened today. And I think we were just speaking off screen how it has affected both you and me. Very difficult time, and just thoughts and prayers to everyone connected. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Love and light to everyone who's going through something. And of course, it makes everybody else also anxious, people who are not directly involved also. So just
Yeah.
look out for yourself, guys. So Ajay and I have started this series. This first episode is hopefully a start of a long series where we will dig deeper into Italian football. Nobody, I think, understands Italian football better than Ajay here, amongst at least my friend circle. तो मुझे genuinely कुछ नहीं पता है. I'm like someone who follows Premier League and Champions League, but Serie A, Italian football is something that even I don't know much about. So I am the perfect layman and a perfect blank canvas to soak all the information and ask the most stupidest of questions that some people will be like, "ये क्या पूछ रही है?" But I would still want to ask that question. Um, so diving straight into the first question, which is Ajay, that you also represent Calcio Charcha, which is doing really well
Yes.
on YouTube, a platform which speaks about Italian football. What is Calcio in Calcio Charcha?
So the word calcio comes from a sport called calcio storico that was played during the Middle Ages, a sport that was played a lot in the Firenze part, the जहाँ पे Fiorentina आता है. So वहाँ पे काफी इन लोग खेलते थे during the Middle Ages, and it was also a sport that came from the Roman times, which resembled थोड़ा सा फुटबॉल का थोड़ा उसमें रूल्स था, थोड़ा बहुत रग्बी का रूल्स था. तो काफी काफी कुछ एक सिमिलैरिटी था. तो जब ब्रिटिश फुटबॉल को लेके आए इटली में, तब इटालियंस ने वो नाम ही रिजेक्ट कर दिया फुटबॉल. उन्होंने बोले नहीं, हम इसको कैल्चियो ही बुलाएंगे इसको, बिकॉज ये हमारा जो एक पुराना स्पोर्ट है उसको रिजेबल करता है. बट दैट्स हाउ द वर्ड कैल्चियो केम इनटू बीइंग. इट्स वन ऑफ द फ्यू कंट्रीज इन द वर्ल्ड जहाँ पे हम फुटबॉल को एक अलग टर्म से बुलाते हैं. अदरवाइज आप देखोगे स्पेनिश में भी फुटबॉल है जो FUTBOL with those whatever it is. Everywhere it is known as football, even in places across the Middle East, other places of Asia. हाँ, यहाँ पे इंडिया में अलग अलग नाम है. जैसे केरला में लोग उसको कालपंद बुलाते हैं. सो वो एक अलग टर्मिनोलॉजी है. सो इट इज वेरी यूनिक. सो कैल्चियो का जो एक वो मीनिंग है, इट इवेंचुअली ट्रांसलेट्स इनटू फुटबॉल, but the Italians have kind of like Italianized it for themselves. So that is the story of Calcio.
Yeah.
And Calcio Charcha जो है, हम लोग ने लास्ट सीजन शुरू किया था. हम 5 जन है. मैं एक रोमा फैन हूँ पैनल में, एक इंटर फैन है, एक मिलान फैन है, यूए फैन है, और एक नापोली फैन है. तो हम 5 जन ने हमने शुरू किया जस्ट टू प्रमोट इटालियन फुटबॉल इन जनरल across YouTube and other platforms. And yeah, I mean, I'm happy to come here and do this live with you and do charcha of Italian football. It's a thing that I love doing the most.
Great, great. And also, as I said, that this is going to be a first video of a long series that we
Yes.
have planned. So, इस episode में सबसे पहले to dive deeper into Italian football, we have to start with the basics. A lot of us here don't even know how to pronounce the names of the Serie A clubs correctly. So, in this particular podcast, this is what we are going to learn. Starting from all the teams that are going to play in the next season, उससे हम शुरुआत करेंगे.
Yes.
I'm going to put out the names of the teams. No points. Teams are divided in alphabetical order. Not really alphabetical order.
हाँ, वो है क्योंकि AC मिलान है. So Associazione Calcio Milan, AC Milan, और
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's it.
इसीलिए वो वहां पे है. But actually
Yeah.
that is interesting because लोग काफी लोग मिलान को AC करके बुलाते हैं. कोई भी AC नहीं बोलता है भाई, उनको मिलान ही बोलते हैं. So AC Milan are known as Milan. I mean, that's the first kind of nugget we can start off with.
Great. So AC Milan we are done with. Then
Yeah.
comes Atal- Atalanta. What is it?
Yes. So a lot of people, again, because बहुत सारे American audience है Twitter में, तो काफी लोग उसको Atlanta बुलाते हैं because Atlanta is a city in Georgia, but it is actually Atalanta. and Atalanta BC. They're called. The BC is Bergamaschi Calcio. They're in a city called Bergamo. Again, Atlanta नाम का शहर नहीं है इटली में. अभी जैसे कि मिलान है. Milan is a very popular city, but there's no city called Atlanta. They are a football club based in a city called Bergamo, very close to
Hmm.
Milan, in that northern province only of Lombardy. जैसे कि हमारा states है, महाराष्ट्र है, गुजरात है. सो जो इटली में जो प्रोविंसेस है वहां पे लोम्बार्डी करके है. लोम्बार्डी में आपके दोनों मिलान क्लब्स है. अटलांटा है, मोन्जा है वहां पे. मोन्जा तो अभी सेरे बी में इस साल, बट या अटलांटा आर ऑब्वियसली वेरी फेमस यूरोपा लीग विनर्स. Gianpiero Gasperini is now signed with Roma after 9 years. But yeah, very, very interesting club.
I'm going to ask you the pronunciation again for the entire
Ha,
club.
yes, yes.
So can you like repeat it again, please?
So
Atalanta.
it's Atalanta. So you want to go all 20 together?
No. Not Atlanta's full name again.
So Atalanta BC. यहाँ पे लिखा है Bergamaschi Calcio. So Bergamo is the city of the city where Atalanta are located, and Atalanta BC उनका पूरा नाम है. That's how they're pronounced. Atalanta.
Great. Next is Bologna, right?
Yes. So Bologna.
Bologna.
lot of confusion generally रहता है ये 3 and 4 पे. 4th पे हम लोग आएंगे. So Bologna again, they're in this region called Reggio Emilia. Very, very picturesque and बहुत ही अच्छा टूरिस्टी रीजन है इटली में. अगेन इन द नॉर्थ. तो अगर आप देखोगे ना तो ये जो नॉर्थ साउथ डिवाइड है इंडिया में नहीं है, इटली में भी काफी नॉर्थ साउथ डिवाइड है, जिसके बारे में हम एक वीडियो करेंगे अक्षता. विल डू अ डिफरेंट वीडियो बिकॉज it's a very, very interesting video to do the north versus south. So Bologna is simply known as Bologna FC, the Rosso Blu winners of the Coppa Italia, one of the many teams this year who have broken a very long drought, trophy drought. So yeah, I mean, I would say agar aap neutral ho, one of the best teams to follow right now are Bologna, a team on the rise.
Nice. And next is the team that was also asked on Twitter by someone.
Yes. Again, ये इसमें काफी आप देखोगे because Calgary is a province in Canada. Sorry, it's a city in Canada, British Columbia में Calgary. Ironically, that's where Brett the Hitman Hart is from, Calgary, Canada. But this is Cagliari इसको pronounce करते हैं. And they're from a region known as Sardinia. Sardinia is an island off the coast of Italy. So अगर मैं Indianize करूँ तो they're like the Andaman Nicobar Islands basically of Italy. Sardinia, that is. The city is Cagliari, and the team representing them are Cagliari FC. And for Premier League fans, one of the most famous sons of Cagliari is Gianfranco Zola, ex Chelsea legend. I'm sure कि जो older fans है, मेरे उम्र के, I'm sure they must be knowing Zola very well.
Cagliari. And next is Como.
Yeah, this is very simple. So Como, again, Lake Como, in the same province of Lombardy, where Milan, Atalanta are. Another team over there. Lake Como is the Hollywood लोगों का लोनावला है लेक कोमो. टू बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट, उनके घर है वहां पे, बड़े बड़े मैंशन है. बट कोमो का प्रोजेक्ट बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग है. They have one of the richest owners in world football, for that matter. They're owned by an Indonesian billionaire group who own a lot of someone is owned by Fabregas just has got some stake in it, but the owners are Indonesian. They are billionaires. They have a tobacco business and everything. So again, they can't spend like crazy because of FFP and whatever financial regulations are there, but on paper, so they're definitely one of the richest teams in Italy. Again, fascinating project by Fabregas. Fantastic jerseys. थोड़ा Adidas ने उनका जर्सी का वाइब रूइन किया उन्होंने. थोड़ा ये कर दिया, स्टैंडर्डाइज कर दिया. बट अगर आप पिछले सीजन व्हेन Fabregas was playing for Como in Serie B, you should see the jerseys back then. Fantastic. Super stadium right next to Lake Como. Again, जो उसका ड्रोन शॉट आता है, beautiful to see. It's on my bucket list. Hopefully this season I can go and watch a game of Como.
Nice, nice. Uske pehle, guys, a lot of people watching, please like this stream and spread the word about what we are trying to do here. Get deeper into Italian football. Try to know more about Serie A and other clubs in Italian football. Next is Cremonese.
So it's Cremonese. So that's how they're
Cremonese.
pronounced. Cremonese. They've been promoted this year via the playoffs. They're from Serie B. So Serie B का जो playoffs है बहुत एक महीना चलता है playoff. मतलब इतने teams रहते हैं. End में it's like a proper Royal Rumble. So Cremonese were the team that finally got promoted from those playoffs. Very interesting team. Gianluca Vialli, again ex-Chelsea guy, has got a connection with them. They are probably, I would say, one of the favorite teams to get relegated and go back next year to Serie B. But very interesting kit that they have, Cremonese. So yeah, it is one of those yo-yo teams जिसको आप Serie B में देखोगे फिर कभी Serie A में आएगा 2-3 साल में. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much about them.
Oh, Cremonese.
Cremonese.
Cremonese. Okay, next is Florentina. I think this was right.
Yeah, so this is perfect. So Fiorentina again, La Viola. If Kostub is in the chat, this is Kostub's team. The La Viola, one of the most iconic teams. बहुत कम teams है अक्षता दुनिया में जो purple, violet color का jersey पहनते हैं. तो उनका वो एक unique USP है, and they've been wearing it for so many years. Gabriel Batistuta in those retro jerseys is obviously one of the most iconic, players that has ever played for Fiorentina. The fun fact about them is that they have been now bought over by these Americans. Unka bhi thoda financial issue tha. They had to restart and come back from the lower divisions and stuff like that. But उस समय में they had to change the name into Florentia and अलग-अलग name because they couldn't really get the rights to the name of Fiorentina. But eventually, once they were back in Serie A, they got things in order. And Fiorentina and the iconic La Viola kits are legendary. And again, I would say such a hipster team to follow. Moise Kean is there from, I'm sure Premier League fans will remember him from his Everton days. Moise Kean is there. And just, I would say, a very cult team to follow. Agar aapko heartbreaks pasand hai, Fiorentina have reached the UEFA Conference League final twice and lost last season. Look, semi-finals mein aaye the. Club that doesn't win much, but has got flair, and it is based in the city of Renaissance, which is Florence. I mean, that's as beautiful as it can get.
Okay, next is Genoa.
So yeah, so Genoa are one of the oldest clubs in Italy. They are like your Nottingham FC of Italy. You can say, so, one of the oldest clubs that has been a part of Serie A. And Genoa का interesting है कि उनका full form है Genoa CFC, Genoa Cricket and Football Club. So they were one of the first teams founded by British guys. So someone had already commented that Milan also started as a cricket and football club, but Genoa were the pioneers of that. Genoa again port city है, तो काफी trade होता था, and Englishmen आए, उन्होंने set up किया Genoa CFC को. Up cricket is dysfunctional there. They don't play cricket anymore. But one of the most amazing stadiums and something that you will know very well. उनका every match के पहले you will never walk alone बजता है उनके stadium में because of the British roots, the English roots that they have. So Borussia Dortmund, Liverpool, and I think do Rangers also play You Will Never Walk Alone, or one of the Scottish clubs also play, but Genoa are one of the clubs who also play You'll Never Walk Alone. So if you watch a Genoa game, home game anytime, you will see a very English stadium. The Stadio Luigi Ferraris is a very English style stadium, and you will see the Saint George's Cross, because again the English heritage is there. And look, You'll Never Walk Alone. You'll see a lot of YNWA Tifos across the stadium. So yeah, I mean, we actually on Calcio Charcha got one Liverpool fan to support Genoa this year.
Oh,
So
wow.
he followed Genoa with a lot of passion because of the Liverpool connection over there. Apart from, I mean, You'll Never Walk Alone is the only connection that's there. The club is managed by Patrick Vieira currently, and they've seen some good times, they've seen some bad times, but अभी तो इन लोग फिलहाल mid table पे है. कभी-कभी relegation में के नजदीक आ जाते हैं, but they've survived in the recent past. But yeah, a club full of history, and a club that has got, you know, insane connection to English football, you know, in terms of the atmosphere and the origin story.
Great, great. I think I'm going to make a tiny little reel on this. Clubs
Yeah, yeah.
that play You Never Walk Alone.
You should. And Genoa are right up there. The atmosphere is crazy. One of the best in Italy, especially when they have the derby. Just to add that their local rivals are Sampdoria, and Sampdoria and Genoa ka jo derby is known as the Derby della Lanterna, which is, you know, the derby of the lighthouse. So one of the most epic rivalries and epic derbies in world football.
Great. And next is a club जिसका नाम almost सबको ही पता है how to pronounce, but you had a very interesting take on it ना कि
Yes,
Inter
yes,
है, मिलान है, उसको क्या बोलना होता है, किसी को क्या बोलना होता है. Yes, please go ahead with
yes.
that.
So the anglicized way is, yeah, Inter Milan, but a lot of purists do not like their club to be called Inter Milan, because they would rather prefer Inter or Internazionale Milano. So इनको Inter Milan ठीक है, मतलब it is okay as a, you know, it's acceptable, but the purists are like rather call us Inter, or rather call us Internazionale Milano, just the whole name, and definitely don't call them Milan, you know, because Milan is for AC Milan. So Inter. So this is how they pronounce it, by the way. जो Italian commentators, हम तो Inter बोलते हैं, but the Italian commentators go Inter.
Inter.
Yeah.
And next is Juventus. Juventus is nice. Like I
हाँ,
correct
तो
pronounce it correct. No
yeah,
problem.
yeah. So again, Juventus is the Juve are, you know, one of the most powerhouses in Italian football, in world football for that matter. And the Italians pronounce it Juventus. That's how the Italians pronounce it.
Juventus.
Juventus. That's how they pronounce it.
Juventus.
And यार
So
क्या
there's
बोलो
no
इनके बारे
T,
में?
right? T
Yeah,
is
yeah,
mostly like Terish.
yeah. So they go like Juventus, tus.
Juventus.
So they go. So it's very funny. There is a lot of similarity between Indian and Italian culture. Forget the, you know, the corruption and politics and the other side of it. You know, जो अपना चलता है एटीट्यूड है ना, वो इटली में भी बहुत है. Italians, और मैंने I've met and I've lived with a lot of Italians abroad as well, and इतना मतलब cultural similarity I can't tell you, man. I mean, एक तो जो
Love
सारे,
language is also food ना वहाँ पे भी.
oof, and I'm telling you, Akshata, if you have, you know, Cucina di Italiano there in Italy, it's mind blowing. Everything is a notch above. Like, and the funny part is, culturally also there is so much of similarity. Like, हमारे यहाँ पे, you know, we still stay with our parents. Italy में भी वही है. They're still very connected to their roots. Still love their grandparents. So जो उनका नोना जो रहता है, grandfather, grandmother, बहुत connected है. And Juve are known as, you know, La Vecchia Signora, the old lady, one of the most unique nicknames in world football. So La Vecchia Signora. So Signora is lady, Vecchia is old. So La Vecchia Signora. So that's Juventus for you.
Nice. And then next is Lazio.
I
Lazio.
I don't want to. I don't know this club, man. Is this a club? Is this a club really? Yeah, so it is Roma's rival club, Lazio. Society Sportiva Lazio. So just an anecdote before obviously we get to Roma. Lazio were the club that refused to, you know, come together as you know, once we come to Roma, there were three clubs that joined together to form ICE Roma, but Lazio were one of the clubs that declined to join in. That's where the rivalry took place. They are known as the Bianco Celesti, the white and sky blue, and they have a lot of Greek symbology in Rome. Ironically, Rome hai, but they have the eagle Olympus, you know, which is like, you know, the derived from Greek mythology, which is why there is always a rivalry between Roma and Lazio fans saying that, yeah, Roma has got colors of the city, but तुम्हारा तो colors ही Greek है. So ये चलते रहते हैं. Nothing really great in Lazio's history, to be very honest. And
Are you saying
I
it
would
because you are a Roma supporter,
100
or you're saying it because
100%,
genuinely?
100%,
I
100%
would say
Roma.
the same thing about United, no?
Yeah, I think so. But all jokes aside, you know, we have Anubhuti, who keeps on popping up at Calcio Chacha, who's the only Indian Laziale that I know. So she's very passionate about Lazio. Lazio ka yaar,
Laziale is what the fans are called.
ha. So yeah, so like so Milan fans are known as Milanisti or Milanista in singular. Interisti, Interista, Juventino, Juventini, Laziale, Romanista, Romanisti. You know, so that's a nickname. That those are nicknames. Those are that are used. You know, for the supporters. So yeah, so Lazio का तो यार उनका तो एक golden spell था to spend Joran Eriksson, who and we made a video on it. Anubhuti has given her insight because she lived that era where Sven Joran Eriksson got them, you know, a Scudetto. So एक और चीज है, the trophy, the Serie A title is known as a Scudetto. So हम लोग जब बोलते हैं कि
Scudetto.
Scudetto, Scudetto.
Scudetto.
So yeah, so Lazio का जो famous 99-2000 वाला year था where they won the Scudetto, that team goes down in history as one of the most iconic teams of all time. The likes of Alessandro Nesta, Juan Sebastian Veron, who else? Pavel Nedved, you know, all Diego Simeone, all part of that Lazio, super Lazio team that was successful during 99-2000. And yeah, they are you know, Roma's arch rivals, and the derby between Roma and Lazio is known as the Derby della Capitale, one of the most fiercest city rivalries in the top 5 European leagues. Lot of drama, and thankfully अभी जो SAR incidents है वो अभी कम हुए, but during its prime there were a lot of unsavory incidents that happened, which I would rather not want to touch upon in today's video, but you can get it. The rivalry is intense between Lazio and Roma.
Got it. Got it. And next we have
Lecce.
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 Wow. I
Lecce.
couldn't have like legit pronounced it as Lecce.
या लेचे मैं एक चैट को पूछता हूँ, do you know the most famous, one of the most famous managers you know, in Italian football currently is from Lecce. So if anyone in the chat, or Akshata, if you can guess, I'll
I
give
can't
you all,
guess.
I'll give you all, you can take a guess ना, मैं 20 seconds देता हूँ. Just guess who is the most, one of the most famous icons who is from Lecce, Italian football manager
I can
currently.
legit Google, but I'm not gonna take a
Anyway, 20 seconds only.
I'm gonna wait for people in the chat to come up with something, but I'm not gonna guess. I'm really bad at
गेस
the
तो करो, गेस तो करो.
नहीं 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 मैं बहुत ही
hint
बुरी
दूं
हो गया इस गेम में.
एक hint
ऊपर से
दूं.
मुझे कंट्री ऑफ ओरिजिन भी नहीं याद रहता लोगों का.
नहीं, मैं एक hint देता हूँ.
और इलाका तो क्या क्या ही याद होगा. Ancelotti.
It is Conte. It is Conte. It's Antonio Conte. Antonio Conte is from Lecce.
Great. So it's
Yeah.
Lecce.
Lecce.
Now it's Napoli. Some people also call it as Napoli, right?
Yeah, so it's Napoli. Napoli, of course, from Naples, and Mount Vesuvius, one of the most active volcanoes in the world out there. Just signed Kevin De Bruyne as we speak. Yeah, so Napoli, SSC Napoli, Società Sportiva Calcio Napoli, SSC Napoli, of course. Diego Armando Maradona, one of the legends, most iconic player of all time, has donned Napoli's shirt and changed their destiny, to be very honest. And
Yeah.
kya bole yaar, you have McTominay, Lukaku winning Serie A along with Conte for them this year. Good times for Napoli fans. Just signed De Bruyne. Everything is going well in Naples. All is well there.
Yeah, yeah. Next is Parma.
So Parma is again one of the most you know, iconic clubs in Italy. Very famous for the 1998 Europa League win, UEFA Cup tha tabhi. Ancelotti was the coach, and you had iconic players there: Gigi Buffon, Lilian Thuram, Fabio Cannavaro. Who else? There was also Juan Sebastian Veron was part of that Parma team as well. So very very iconic in the 90s, but unfortunately they got embroiled in a financial scandal. Parmalat, the company that owned them, very very popular dairy company, and the cheese from this region is extremely popular.
which
Parmesan.
Ajay and I can't have.
So Parmesan, you and I, we can't have, but we can have a vegan version of it. But
Oh,
yeah,
you
yeah,
have a vegan one? Wow, okay.
yeah. So we can have a vegan version of it. And someone, Om has mentioned Chiesa. So yeah, so you had Papa Enrico Chiesa, playing. Enrico Chiesa was one of the players in that squad as well. Iconic center forward for Parma back in the day. And again, a very hipster club. अगर आपको follow करना है तो Parma को follow करो. काफी hipster club है उनको follow करने के लिए. And yeah,
Hipster. अगर आप हिपस्टर हैं तो आप हिपस्टर क्लब को फॉलो करें. It's a
बिल्कुल
speed.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
Pizza, right?
Yeah, so Pisa, of course, you have the Leaning Tower of Pisa, which is the most iconic. They're back in Serie A after a 20 odd year gap,
Wow.
promoted back this year. Yeah, I mean, again, Pisa के बारे में Filippo Inzaghi, जो Pippo Inzaghi, आपको याद रहेगा अगर आप Liverpool fan है, Inzaghi was a coach who actually got them promoted, but is not going to stay at Pisa. He's not going to be in Serie A. He is the Guardiola of the lower divisions. Always likes to stay in the lower division. And इनका भी colors are Nera Azzurri, which is Nera is black, Azzurri is blue. So you have Atalanta, you have Inter, and you have Pisa, who have similar colors, in the top flight this year. And excited to see them this season. But again, one of the favorites to go back straight down into Serie B.
Okay. And next is, I don't know which club is this.
Hi,
Ajay,
hi.
which club are you talking about now?
यार क्या बोलूं यार, this is the club of my heart, and my wife keeps on saying that you're married to Roma first and then you're married to me,
No.
which I think is not a very fair assessment, but there may be a certain truth to it. But yeah, just to speak about Roma, like I'd mentioned earlier in the video, three clubs came together to they merged together to form a united club in Rome called AS Roma. So AS Roma in the Roman dialect. तो अभी कैसा है कि हमारा आपकी हिंदी दिल्ली वाली हिंदी है, मेरी हिंदी बम्बैया वाली हिंदी है, तो वो डायलेक्ट चेंज होता है, राइट? तो इवन इन इटली देयर आर लॉट ऑफ डायलेक्ट्स. सो रोमन स्लैंग इज वेरी डिफरेंट कंपेयर टू इटालियन. लाइक उन लोग मजाक करते रहते हैं कि यार रोमन तो इटालियन बात ही नहीं करते हैं, रोमन तो अपना ही भाषा में बात करता है. तो जो एएस है इन द रोमन स्लैंग इज नोन एज आइसे रोमा. So they like to exaggerate everything. That's how the Romans live. So fun fact is they are Roma are the club where silent. Sorry. So Roma are the club who are known as a Giallo Rossi because the city ka jo colors hai, yellow and red are represented. The she wolf is represented. You can see the she wolf is feeding two twins, who are known as the founders of Rome. And yeah, I mean, kya bole yaar, it is a club that has got a lot of history in the capital of the world, the eternal city. And yeah, I mean, Roma के बारे में I think एक पूरा अलग वीडियो अपन speak about them. But that's in
Yeah.
short about the symbology and the history of Roma.
Great. Next is Sassuolo.
Yep. So Sassuolo are, you can say, the Brighton of Serie A, or Brighton are the Sassuolo of Serie A. The Nero Verdi, again, the Nero is black, Verdi is green. Very provincial team because Italy में हम लोग काफी teams है जिसको हम provincial बोलते हैं. Even Atalanta for that matter, they're not in a big city per se, but they've come up and they've competed and brushed shoulders with the giants of Italian football. So yeah, Om is, I think, a big Italian football fan because Domenico Berardi is the most iconic player in that Sassuolo kit. They're back as well after a brief stay in Serie B. They're back as champions, and Fabio Grosso, the left back who won Italy the World Cup, is their coach. And Roberto De Zerbi got his break at Sassuolo, and वहां से he really picked up and then he joined Brighton. In fact, Brighton ने एक same black and green kit एक बार away kit किया था, तो De Zerbi was home. He really felt that he was coaching Sassuolo only, but yeah, very very interesting team to watch. Again, not very popular across the country, but a very very unique story by itself. And fun fact, before they come, when the players walk into the pitch, they play Guns N' Roses' "Sweet Child of Mine." Very very
Oh,
iconic.
wow.
Yeah, nice. मजा आता है
Wow.
when people are coming into the Slash का guitar solo.
Wow. Next is Torino.
Yep. So Torino, one of the most iconic teams in Italy. हमने कैल्चो चर्चा में इनके बारे में एक वीडियो बनाया है. Il Grande Torino, the Grand Torino team that unfortunately, uh, suffered a plane crash. A plane, they were coming back from Portugal, I think, after playing Benfica, and the plane crashed into one of the uh, एक चर्च था एक हिल पे, वहां पे द प्लेन क्रैश्ड बिकॉज ऑफ लो विजिबिलिटी. टोरिनो का ऐसा था कि 10 out of 11 players of the Italian national team in the 1920s and 30s were from Torino, and they are Juve's rivals, of course, because both Juve and Torino are from the city of Turin. In English, we call it Turin. In Italian, it's known as Torino. Um, they are known as the Granata because of their maroon kit, or Il Toro because of the bull that's there. Simone Zaza did play there, of course, along with Ciro Immobile and many, many other iconic players, Andrea Bellotti in recent times. So, yeah, I mean, a very, very iconic team of the past. Unfortunately, a lot of parallels to Man United and that plane crash जो Munich में हुआ, but United could rebuild it. They could rebuild and they could get a period of glory, but unfortunately that never came from for Torino. Very, very sad story, but yeah, one of the most iconic teams of all time. In recent memories, you had Joe Hart, who played for Torino for one season. He was, मतलब बोलते ना कि मच्छी को उठा के आपने मतलब एक रिवर से उठा के तुमने जमीन पे रख दिया. He was like that. 1 year was very difficult for him at Torino. Couldn't adjust to the local league. You have this guy. What's his name, man? Che Adams playing for them. Che Adams, and he scored a goal from the halfway line last year in Serie A.
Wow.
So yeah, Premier League fans can watch Che Adams play for Torino.
Om has also added a fun fact.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this basically no, Torino did not separate from Juve. It was Torino. Yeah, Torino Juve ka history is a bit complicated because I don't want to go much in detail, but Juve family, the Agnelli family who own Juve, are one of the most um, uh, powerful families, you can say. So Agnelli's also own Fiat Group. So Fiat Group was involved in employing a lot of Italians, and Ferrari is also owned by Fiat right now. So Juve and the Agnellis have a very, very different arc, and Torino have a very different arc, unfortunately.
Next is Odinese. Nesse.
Yes.
Odinese.
So
I'm,
Udinese.
I'm थोड़ा सा समझ में आ रहा है मुझे इटालियन
हाँ
प्रोनाउंसिएशन.
जी, हाँ जी. नहीं, 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 बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल. So Udinese again, Antonio Di Natale, most iconic players from there. एक वीडियो हम लोग बनाने वाले हैं about Udinese, the super Udinese team that had the likes of Alexis Sanchez and Gökhan Inler and a lot of other players, who were there. They're from the northeast part of Italy. Very, very, not a very highly populated region, hence a very provincial club, Udinese. They're owned by the Pozzos, the same family who own Watford and who also own Granada in Spain. So they were the first, you can say, before the Red Bulls and the City Football Group took over multiple clubs. It was Udinese who, actually created like this absolute trend of having a club in every league and then moving players around it. And yeah, I mean, I would say Zico played for Udinese in the past, Brazilian legend. So when Serie A was very dominant in the 80s and 90s, Zico represented Udinese. And Antonio Di Natale है, Alexis Sanchez है, बहुत काफी आइकॉनिक प्लेयर्स वो क्लब से निकले, एंड काफी लोग वॉटफोर्ड आए खेलने के लिए. But not a very popular team, but definitely that one period they had a lot of good players. And I think in 2005, 2004, 2005, they made it to the Champions League as well under Luciano Spalletti.
And last team we have is Verona.
Yeah, Hellas Verona, a very, very dislikable club personally for me. Do not like them a lot. But Hellas Verona are from the city of Verona, and Verona is known for. Again, it's beauty, architecture, a lot of Shakespearean stories over there. Romeo, Juliet, everything. Verona is the epicenter for all of that. Beautiful city, but as a club, Hellas Verona, very, very iconic club. Last one Serie A in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken, it was 82 or something. And that was the one season where referees were decided on the day of the match. It was drawn. So there was no designated referee earlier. It
Oh.
happened one season, and that season was won by Hellas Verona. So I'm not saying anything. You can, draw your own conspiracy there. बट वंस अगेन उनके जो राइवल्स है आजकल उन लोग का थोड़ा बुरा वक्त चल रहा है किएवो वेरोना just a small note, Kievo Verona is known, they're known as the flying donkeys because Hellas Verona were the most dominant team in Verona. So Kievo was a very small club. So the Hellas Verona fans actually had this कि जब Kievo Verona Serie A में आएगी तब donkeys will fly. Hence Kievo Verona when they came to Serie A started calling themselves the flying donkeys. So very
Wow.
very unique nickname and part of Serie A, history and Serie A culture right now.
Great. Ajay, I do have a couple of more questions, but
Uh-huh.
before I get into those questions, can you quickly like sum up all the pronunciations?
Yes, so we have Milan, Atalanta, Bologna, Cagliari, Como, Cremonese, Fiorentina, Genoa, Internazionale Milano, Juventus, Lazio, Lecce, Napoli, Parma, Pisa, Roma, Sassuolo, Torino, Udinese, and Verona.
Thank you for that, Ajay. Okay, so now what are the most important domestic leagues in Italian football?
Leagues,
If a
Bodo,
team is playing, like अगर for example मान लीजिए कि मैं रोमा उठा रही हूँ, रोमा कौन कौन से ट्रॉफीज के लिए कंटेंडर्स होगी इस सीजन के लिए, उस वे में अगर आप समझा पाएंगे ना, दैट वुड बी बेटर.
So, देखो, historically the northern teams dominate a lot. The Milan teams, both the Milan teams and Juve, they are the teams that dominate the trophies and who want to compete for the Scudetto every year. Roma, Lazio, Napoli don't win a lot, but southern teams में ये तीन teams है who are the strongest. European success के बारे में बात करें तो Milan obviously have 7 Champions Leagues with them. Juve have 2, Inter have 3. So Milan clearly are the kings of Europe. And उनका मतलब जब Silvio Berlusconi था, Silvio Berlusconi came up through media, and then of course he got into politics, started his own political party called Forza Italia, became the prime minister of Italy, and then of course did a lot of shady things. But when he was president of Milan, Milan went through the most successful spell, and he was obsessed in making them, kings of Europe. There was a time not so long ago in the in history where Madrid had 9 Champions League titles and Milan had 7, and Aj, Madrid have 15 and Milan still have 7. And Om, I said Juve have played maximum finals. They've lost a lot of those finals as well. Unfortunately for Juve fans, they only won the 2 out of, I think, 8, 9 they've contested across history. So that's a very low result compared to like a low win percentage compared to the likes of Milan or Inter for that matter. But yeah, ये तीन historically the northern हम लोग बोलते हैं the northern connection, the northern stripes, because coincidentally all three teams have striped jerseys. So Milan are the rossoneri, the red and black. Inter nerazzurri, black and blue. And Juventus are the bianconeri, the black and white. So these are the teams that typically contest for Serie A. Uske baad mein you have Napoli, who are current champions with 4 Scudetti. Then you have Roma with 3, Lazio with just the 2. And otherwise, the domestic competition is known as the Coppa Italia. Unfortunately, the competition is not like the FA Cup. Like FA Cup is magical. Coppa Italia, sadly, by the federation themselves, they don't promote the cup competition so much. बढ़िया मजा आता है, ऐसा नहीं कि नहीं आता है, but over the course of time, those romantic ties where you see, David slaying a Goliath, जो एक अंडरडॉग टीम है एक बड़ी टीम को हराती है, वो कम देखने मिलता है इन द कोपा इटालिया. तो सेरिया है जिसको हम स्कुदेतो बोलते हैं, एंड कोपा इटालिया है जो इटालियन कप है. ये दोनों मेजर मेजर कंपटीशन है. अनलाइक इंग्लैंड, देयर इज नो सेकंड कप कंपटीशन इन देयर इज नेवर बीन अ सेकंड कप कंपटीशन इन
There's no
इटली.
quadruple here.
देयर इज नो
Just
क्वाड्रुपल.
everything.
एक सुपर कप है, मतलब विच इज द वर्जन ऑफ द कम्युनिटी शील्ड. बट अभी सुपर कप को भी उन्होंने थोड़ा you know, Italy and Spain ने उसको थोड़ा ये कर दिया है, change कर दिया. It's not like, you know, the cup winners versus the league winners. Four teams go into it. The cup and league winners are there. Then the next two best teams are there. So they play two games each, and then there's a final. 3 games in total decides the Super Cup. It happens in December in Saudi Arabia. The winner gets 7 million euros. So you know, it's good money for whoever wins the Super Cup. AC Milan won the Super Cup this year. The you know, the only trophy that they won this year under Conceição. So yeah, again, it's just, I don't want to say it's a Mickey Mouse trophy, but it is a trophy that is significantly less important. But you want your team to win it if they're in it.
Yeah. Well, I have honestly learned a lot, and I'm going to revisit this video, make notes, and like make sure that I have actually taken up all the information that you've shared today. Before we end the chat, Ajay, is there anything you would want to add?
I would say, yeah, you know, Italian football is everything is in it. The culture is fantastic. The fan culture is superb. You get to see one of the most amazing tifos, choreography, flares. पहले तो bombs भी निकलते थे, but आजकल नहीं है. काफी ड्रामा होता है. There's never a dull day. Even in the off season, there's never a dull day in Serie A. My just to actually, I said this in another video also with Animesh. The drama in Serie A so much, and ये तो होता है, and you guys are experiencing it with Florian Wirtz. So when Gianpiero Gasperini was he announced that he was leaving Atalanta, so there was a time where he was not sure of, no one was sure where he's going to end up. Every morning, you know, I'm just like, you know, refreshing my feed. Kya ho raha hai? What is happening? Every morning I wake up, first thing I see, has Gasperini decided where he's going to join? And even though everyone was saying ha, Roma are close, but last minute mein Juve also came very close in, you know, getting a signature. So ये ड्रामा है जो के सोप, जो एकता कपूर के जो सोप्स है, उसके जैसा ही ड्रामा होता रहता है. Just imagine Antonio Conte, right? After he won Serie A with Napoli this year. So the only league that went to the final day for the title. So final match day mein title was decided. Conte won Serie A. He did not see eye to eye with Napoli president Aurelio De Laurentiis. Okay, eye to eye dekha nahi, kyunki Juve had given him, you know, an offer to come back. Everyone assumed that Conte is going to go back, especially after the celebrations. He was not. He was muted. He celebrated, but he was not the typical Antonio Conte because he felt that he's going to Juve. Everyone assumed he's going to Juve. And 2 days ke baad mein, he says that I'm going to stay at Napoli. And Juve have drawn a whole plan of hiring Conte and, you know, taking things forward. And that doesn't happen. So drama, drama, drama. If you love drama, if you love off-field antics and some good football as well. Historically, to काफी tactical football रह चुका है. But every team has got, you know, its own flair. It's not defensive football. It's not boring football. जो एक myth है. I definitely want to break that myth. Unfortunately, Italian clubs have not been really winning a lot in Europe over the last few years. Like Om mentioned, you know, काफी scandals है, miracles है, कुछ होते रहता है. It's a super league and इतना color है, इतना culture है, काफी मतलब Indian football का भी याद दिलाता है. If you know, I can draw a lot of parallels between the two countries, and hence I resonated. I've been following Roma for a good part of 22, 23 years,
Wow.
and yeah, I mean, never a dull day in my life, you can say.
अभी recently also this one video was out ना जिसमें वो एक fake funeral kind of कर रहे हैं Milan supporters after
हाँ,
the UCL finals. I was like,
बिल्कुल,
such
बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल,
dark
बिल्कुल.
sense of humor, but it's great
बिल्कुल
sense of
बिल्कुल.
humor.
So very popular because जब आपके rivals you know, do not perform well, it's very it's an Italian thing to do, to you know, do fake funerals and mock funerals, and you know, coffin को rival club के colors में लोग paint करते हैं. तो you know, it's something which is I would say very dark and embedded in Italian culture. In fact, when Napoli won the league, you know, with Maradona, so a lot of Napoli fans actually went to the graveyards, and there was a quote, you know, like वहाँ पे cemetery के बाहर लिखा था, "You guys do not know what you have missed. Because Napoli won the league for the very first time in 1980, in 1985, 86 with Maradona, 86, 87. तभी लोग जीते first time ever. So that's the thing, the Italians are, क्या बोले? I mean, they are God-fearing people, but when it comes to antics like this, they go to the fullest extent of channeling their dark humor.
Great to know. Guys, we'll keep on doing these lives regularly. If there are any specific things you would want us to cover, do let us know. So the idea is like we've covered the team names, we'll now get into player names. And, while we're discussing the player names, we'll discuss, fun facts about the players, their stats, all of that.
Yep.
But if there's anything specific you'd like us to cover, do let us know. Very, very grateful to Ajay for taking out the time and doing the stream. Ajay, thank you so much.
100%, man. 100%. And like I always say, like ciao ciao and grazie per tutti for the invite, and looking forward to doing and talking about Italian football. Jaise bhi bole, it's a thing that I love to do the most. And there's so many things we can do. We can do derbies, we can do rivalries.
Yeah.
बहुत कुछ है.
Yeah. Okay, before I end, because you said, like bye and everything in Italian, if after every stream you can tell us one Italian word of the day with its meaning.
हाँ,
Help us
तो
improve our Italian.
yeah, so you can do that. Yeah, so मैंने basic Italian course किया था, but I unfortunately क्या होता है with any language you need to speak speak regularly. So I've lost touch of the flow, but we can do words. So we can do grazie. Grazie is thank you. So grazie per tutti means thank you for everything. So grazie and grazie per tutti are the words of the day.
Grazie per tutti.
Per tutti, yeah.
Per
Per tutti.
tutti.
Thank you for everything.
Grazie per tutti. Thank you, everybody. Grazie per tutti.
Yeah, that's thank you for everything.
Thank you for everything.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much, Ajay. Thank you, everybody who joined the chat. Do spread the word about the stream and the series that we've been doing, and grateful to all of you. You'll never walk alone.
Ciao, ciao.